There are silences that weigh heavier than any words in the world. Silences that settle between two people who love each other, and push them a little further apart every day. It's been 847 days since I started counting. 847 days since the first time I said, I want a child. And he looked away. Léa and Thomas love each other. Deeply. They built a life together, share an apartment, dreams, routines. But between them, a crack grows every day. An invisible but devastating one. 3 years. 3 years they've been pushing this conversation away. 3 years that Léa has felt her desire for motherhood grow, while Thomas shuts down every time the subject comes up. That morning, at breakfast, the bomb finally goes off. Léa's sister has just announced she's pregnant. And Léa can't pretend everything is fine anymore. It's been 3 years, Thomas. 3 years of we'll talk about it later. When is later? But Thomas runs. Again. Always. There is always an important meeting, an urgent project, a reason to postpone what should be talked about today. Facing the camera, alone, Léa confesses. I've always known I wanted to be a mother. Since I was a kid. It's not a whim, it's visceral. When I see a child, my heart does this weird thing. Like it recognizes something that's missing. And Thomas is the love of my life. I can't see myself with anyone else. But how can I build my life without that part of me? How can I live knowing I'm giving up something so fundamental? Thomas, on his side, admits. I don't want kids. It's not against Léa. It's not because I doubt our love. It's deeper than that. My father was absent. Always at work, always away. My mother raised us alone, exhausted, overwhelmed. I saw them being unhappy. And I see us becoming that. I'm afraid of becoming my father. I'm afraid of discovering I don't have what it takes to be a good dad. But how do I say that to the woman I love? How do I tell her that her dream is my nightmare? A chilling statistic appears. 1 out of 3 couples break up because of disagreements about having children. Weeks go by and their relationship unravels. Slowly. Painfully. Léa suggests couples therapy. Thomas sees it as an attempt to convince him. They go anyway, but the words feel empty. At a dinner with friends who have a baby, Léa glows while holding the child in her arms. Thomas looks away, unable to bear the image. In the car on the way home, a freezing silence that says everything they can't express anymore. At night, in bed, they sleep back to back. The space between them feels like a gulf. We used to sleep tangled together. Now there's this invisible wall. We make love less often. And when we do, I catch myself thinking, what if an accident happened? And I hate myself for thinking that. Léa confides in her pregnant sister. I love him so much. I really do. Why do I have to choose between him and this? Her sister answers with painful clarity. Because some desires can't be negotiated. You can give up a career, a city, habits. But a child? That's your whole life. In 10 years, 20 years, you'll resent him. And he knows it. Thomas pours his heart out to his best friend at a bar. I can't lose her. His friend hits him with brutal truth. You're already losing her. Do you love her enough to let her go? Because every day that passes is another day her fertility decreases. Her dream is slipping away. And that's on you. Then comes the breaking point. One evening, Thomas comes home and finds Léa with her suitcases ready. No. No. Léa, what are you doing? I'm going to my sister's. I need to think. We can talk. We haven't really talked. Léa finally explodes. If I say yes just to keep you, I'll end up hating you. And hating that child. And if I say no. Léa finishes the sentence. I'll end up hating you. And hating myself for giving up. A silence. Two people who love each other but are standing on the edge of a cliff. I love you, Thomas. But I don't know if it's enough anymore. She leaves. The door closes. Thomas stays alone in the silence of their now empty apartment. The separation forces them to dive into themselves. To ask the real questions. A specialized psychologist explains. Disagreement about children is one of the hardest conflicts in a relationship because there's no possible compromise. You can't have half a child. It's binary, yes or no, and both positions are valid. The first step is that each person must really explore their why. Not the surface why, the deep why. Thomas starts individual therapy. His therapist asks, "When you think child, what is the very first emotion that comes up?" After a long silence, "Fear. A paralyzing fear. Fear of repeating my father's mistakes. Of being absent. Of turning my life into obligations. Of not recognizing my own life." The therapist asks him a disorienting question. "And what if I told you that you are not your father? That you've already made choices he never did?" The question isn't, "Will you be a perfect father?" No one is. The question is your refusal an authentic choice, or an unresolved fear? Meanwhile, Léa explores her own deep motivations. Why is having a child so important to you? Because that's what people who love each other do, isn't it? Is that your answer, or society's? Léa is shaken. No, it's mine. I want to pass things on. I want to love without limits. I want to feel complete. I feel like something is missing. Like my life is a house with an empty room. And if Thomas didn't exist in this scenario? If you were alone, would you still want a child? Breathless. Yes. Yes, I think so. Then your desire is authentic. Now the question is, what are you willing to do to honor it? After 3 weeks of separation, they meet again in a park. On a bench. "I missed you." "I missed you too." Thomas speaks. "I did something. I went to see my father. We haven't spoken in years, but I needed answers. I asked him why he was absent. His father told him, 'I was afraid, son. Afraid of not being enough. So I hid in work. My biggest mistake wasn't working. It was being emotionally absent even when I was physically there. You can be different. If you choose to be." Thomas continues. "I've been in therapy. I dug deep. And I realized my fear comes from that 8-year-old boy who waited for his father at the window. Not from the man I am now. But I can't say yes just to keep you. That would be unfair to you, to me, and especially to the child." Léa's heart breaks. "But I also realized something else. My no wasn't as clear as I thought. It was an automatic no. A defensive no. So I need time. Time to figure out whether it's an authentic no, or a fear I can overcome." How much time? 6 months. 6 months of therapy. 6 months of working on myself. And you too. Not to convince me. But so we both reach our truth. 6 months. 6 months of therapy. 6 months of working on myself. And you too. Not to convince me. But so we both reach our truth. And if in 6 months your answer is still no? Thomas's voice trembles. "Then I'll let you go. Because I love you enough not to steal your life from you." And if in 6 months your answer is still no? Thomas's voice trembles. "Then I'll let you go. Because I love you enough not to steal your life from you." Léa admits. "On my side. I also realized something. I need to know whether I can be happy without a child. Truly happy. Or if it would always be a ghost between us. I'm going to explore other ways to give, to nurture. Mentoring, maybe. Volunteering with kids. To see if that fills the void, or if it really is motherhood that I want." The following 6 months are an inner journey for both of them. Thomas writes in a journal. Plays at the park with a friend's kid, smiling shyly. Visits a daycare, observes father-child interactions. Dismantles his fears one by one. Léa works in a community center, reading stories to children. She discovers the joy of passing things on without being a mother. But every night, when she comes home, the emptiness is still there. They meet sometimes for coffee. Talk. Even laugh. A connection rebuilding, differently. Day 183. Exactly 6 months later. Same park. Same bench. Different season. Today's the day. "I know." Léa starts. I spent 6 months trying to convince myself I could live without it. I worked with kids, I loved it. I became a godmother, I traveled, I explored parts of myself motherhood might have smothered. And after all that, I still want a child. It's not weaker. It hasn't faded. It's just who I am. But I also realized I don't want a child with someone who doesn't truly want one. Not out of obligation. Not out of fear of losing me. I want a co-parent, present, engaged, choosing this life. Thomas takes Leah's hands. I spent 6 months dismantling my fears. I saw my father, talked to dads, observed families. I imagined my life with a child. Really imagined it. Not just the fear, but the reality. And I discovered something I didn't expect. Under all that fear, there was something else. A little voice saying, "What if it's beautiful? What if you're capable?" I can't tell you I'm 100% excited. I can't promise I'll never be scared. But I want to try. Not to keep you. For me. Because I realized that my biggest fear wasn't being a father. It was living with regrets. Are you sure? Really sure? Because if you change your mind in 2 years, I can't guarantee the future. No one can. But I can guarantee that if we do this, I'll be 100% in. Present. Engaged. Even terrified. They kiss. Softly. Like a promise. 1 year later. We won't lie. It wasn't easy. Getting pregnant took time. Thomas's doubts came back in waves. Mine too. But something had changed. We were a team. Not 2 people fighting, but 2 people building. In their newborn's room, Thomas offers a finger, and the baby grabs it. Tears in his eyes, he whispers, "Hey there." He looks at Leah. She smiles. A perfect and imperfect moment. This script isn't a magic recipe. Our story isn't yours. We were lucky. Thomas was able to overcome his fears. But for some couples, the answer is different. And that's okay. What matters is honesty. If you're going through this, listen to yourselves. Truly. Dive into the core of your yes or your no. Don't sacrifice your truth. Not for love, not for society, not for fear. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you have to choose. And sometimes you find a path you didn't know was possible. Final message. If you're facing this question, seek professional help. Give yourselves time, but not endlessly. Or honor your truths, even if they separate you. Remember, there's no wrong choice, only honest ones. Your story is yours.